If there's lots of background noise, it's because it's one of those first windy days of autumn. One of the days that knocks the loose leaves off, or in some cases, knocks the loose trees down. But back in here where it's peaceful, hangs my tape holder thing. I made it a few years back. There's a video for it and a plan if you're interested, so it's rather easy to build. But during the course of the video I made some statement about we'll know whether or not it was a good idea in a year or so. Well, it's been probably 4 or 5 years, so let me tell you about it. It has held up well enough, but over the years I've made a few modifications. The gist of it is that it's just 3 PVC pipes that act as a rack that the rolls kind of roll on and can't slip through the crack of. That keeps dust from settling inside of it. And what else can I tell you about it? It does function as a dispenser. It's one-handed on the underside, but if you're lazy and only attach it to the upper pipe, you have to use both hands. Feeding it through makes a dispenser that won't let the roll fall away. How much do I use it? About a third of the time I do this. The other 2/3 I just take it with me. All in all, not a bad system. This one's been adapted to go on one of these cleat systems. So I put a 45 degree angle block on the back so it grabs a hold of this, which is nice. It makes it movable, but it just stays here. A super nice upgrade to this, which wasn't in the original video, are these copper things, and they're just pieces of copper wire. That way if you bump it, it won't hurt you. It just bends out of the way, but it's really nice to keep these little tiny rolls on. I try to use big rolls of electrical tape on things that require lots of tape, and I save these little ones for going around outlets and little tiny wraps that a big roll is too cumbersome with. So it is nice to keep these little spent rolls. By volume, you have big rolls, 2-inch rolls, masking tape and duct tape, which take up tons of space, but numerically, these little rolls, they are abundant. So this upper tray that's nailed on top that rolls can't roll out of is another addition that I super highly recommend. This thing, in terms of an upgrade, might not be the most practical thing, but it is admittedly awesome. I'll show you how it works in a minute, but just so you understand, to put it back in, it goes like this, and it's its own dispenser. But you can take it with you. This thing could be a build video all its own, and trust me, I dumped a lot of effort into coming up with this. Over the course of years, lots of things led to its overall design. Oops. Don't use your finger if it gets stuck below. Okay, so what's going on here? First, you have a weighted cylinder. Why is it weighted? Just so that it doesn't pop out. And there's a slot, and this is a key that fits into it. It doesn't roll. The roll of tape rolls on this. Yes, it's weighted with steel, so it's extremely heavy. And that's so it doesn't move when you try to use it one-handed. Not the best thing in the world. I don't consider it ideal or the ultimate, but it's better than anything that I can find. That edge is just a piece of hacksaw blade, and it tears it quite easily. This flapper thing, it kind of serves a few purposes. First and foremost, it gives it something to stick on, because it won't stick to the wood too much, and if it does, then it's difficult to peel it back off. So this returns it every single time to a position that your fingers can grab. If you can do it 3 times in a row without failure, that's somewhat of a success. The other thing that does is when it doesn't stick and the tape falls down into the crack there, it catches it so that the tape doesn't get stuck to the roll. Don't use your finger, blow. The bottom has traction on it, silicone, and some grooves to keep it from sliding too much. I don't have a 100% single hand success rate with this yet, so it's kind of like a proof of concept prototype in progress, but the design, let's call it 70%. I could afford to give it a few more hours of tinkering to really make it function nice and clean, but yeah, I'll put it in line. It works well enough. But as for the rest of it, the tape rack itself, oh, I would absolutely recommend building it. It's been pretty good to me over the last few years. I have a pretty low tolerance for frustration, so I'd have to say it's better than anything I've seen yet, probably. I'm not quite convinced that any of the others I've seen are better than this. I would listen to arguments to the contrary, but I'm as of yet unconvinced. This is done pretty well. As I've said, there's a printout in the description if you want to build this. It's really not hard. Requires, you know, a jigsaw and maybe some spade bits, a couple pieces of electrical conduit or PVC.